Well, maybe we could start at the beginning and discuss a little bit about how this...
Why don't we get the audio up just a little bit so I know what he's talking about? Take the audio up a couple of decibels. It needs it in this theater.
Testing? How's this? Better? Better?
Speak up. Yeah, better.
Better, good. Maybe you could tell us about how this project came together.
If you move your hand up a little further, you'll block the microphone completely.
I can do that too.
Right.
Okay.
Let's move on.
The question was, how did the film come together?
How to come together? How do I know? I just showed up.
The characters of Max and Ava were inspired by my grandparents. My grandfather was a jazz musician and an arranger who had one hit in 1949. It was a song called "Jealous Heart."
It was a good hit, though.
It was.
Star Spangled Banner.
It was like this on set, too. I said it was like this on set, too.
Oh, yeah. Are you going to hang around long?
I work here. You want to handle it by yourself?
You got a lot of notes, but you're not reading them. Did you notice? Hello. Is that low, or am I imagining it? Can you hear me okay? Well, then be quiet. Go ahead.
So, I wrote this script about them as a way of kind of dealing with my own grief when they passed away. My grandfather, after his one hit, it didn't really happen for him professionally, and he shifted all of his energy into his marriage and his family. And growing up, I really idolized that marriage because I came from a lot of divorce and a family that was constantly changing, and that was something that was very stable in my eyes. And when my grandmother passed away in 2001, my grandfather and I were incredibly close, and I was there by his side throughout the whole process. And because I had such an empathic relationship with him, in many ways I felt I was experiencing his grief as well as my own. And he passed away 2 years later, and I felt this tremendous relief, not because my burden had been lifted, but because his burden had been lifted. And when I looked at the grand timeline of his life, he met my grandmother in high school, and they were together for decades. And it was a very, very happy life, except for this one little blip at the end, which is when he didn't have her anymore. And I got to thinking about how you would see these little human interest stories. It would just be a little box in the paper or a 20-second piece on the news about a couple that had been together all their lives, and one passes and the other passes very soon after. And it got me to thinking about how this was a phenomenon that is very common and yet had never really been depicted in an intimate way. I wrote the script and was met with tremendous resistance. People telling me, you can't make a movie about old people. No one wants to see it. It's depressing. And I went through this very, very challenging experience of having executives and producers and financiers would call me and say, I read your script this weekend. I loved it. It made me cry. It made me reevaluate my relationships with my family and my relationship to my work, but there's nothing I can do for you. And I would think, what more am I supposed to do? I thought this was my job, was to make people feel things. And I just kept hanging in there until I finally met Lawrence Ingley and Garrett Kelleher at Lightstream, who were the only producers that had the courage to back this film, not based on market data, but based on their heart response. So they came on board and they said, who do you want to play Max? And I said, I'm completely obsessed with Jerry Lewis playing this part. So we started making inquiries, and Jerry was retired, officially no longer accepting submissions. He wasn't reading scripts. He had no agent. It was impossible to reach him. And eventually we were getting ready to give up, and we discovered that Jerry had an office in Vegas, which existed basically to deal with the business of being Jerry Lewis, which is a big business. We called, and the woman who answered the phone said, he doesn't read scripts. He's not available. So we drafted a letter. It was a very short letter. And we sent it in, and I figured, this is our best shot, we're never going to hear from him. And one day, Lawrence called me, and he said, I just got a voicemail from Jerry Lewis. I think we listened to it about 50 times. I've memorized it. And Jerry said, I would love to read your script. So we sent it along, and a couple weeks later, he called, and he said, I loved your script, I'm in, let's make a movie. And we said, don't you want to meet us? So we went to meet Jerry, and everyone had told me that he was difficult.
You're kidding.
Wait, I'm coming back to you in a minute.
So I can't explain the incredible chasm between the man that I was told I would meet and the man that I, in fact, met. Jerry was, from moment one, nothing but love and support. He welcomed me into his family. And I think, I remember you saying, Jerry, you said, if this thing's going to work, we've got to love each other, and I'm going to start loving you right now. And he did. So the money finally came together because we had a big star, and we shot it, and here we are.
Wonderful.
Yeah. There is an impossible problem in the motion picture industry, and that is you can have the most emotional and the most sensitive feelings about something, and until it's done, no one agrees with you. It's a very strange, odd kind of a business, because what we're doing is we're selling ourselves. If I'm the writer, I'm going to let you know it. If I'm the director, I'm going to let you know it. And if you're going to work with me in a crew, you're going to understand that I know what I'm doing. And when someone knows what they're doing, it supersedes everybody else. Because everybody else sits back and says, he'll tell us because he knows. And we had a crew that was incredibly, incredibly on our side, which gave us a great feeling about coming to work every day. Because you can get a guy on your crew that's like this. He'll ruin your life. So you got to move away from him and pick the people that are up, positive, eager to participate in this work, and that's what we had. And it's an amazing thing to see from where I was sitting. I hadn't seen the footage for at least 6 months, maybe a little longer. And it's amazing what a metamorphosis takes place when you finally do see it. And you sit there as a performer, you sit there as a director, you sit there as a performer, one whose life is dedicated to entertaining audiences like this. Daniel and I met and agreed with one another that we'd be good together. And I think we were good together. A tough script, very tough script. It was beautifully written, probably the best writing I've ever read by any writer. And it was just absolutely, I couldn't wait to go to the set every day. And when you feel that, then you know you're doing something good. Now, an audience may not be crazy about it like you are, but you try desperately to talk them into it.
Yeah.
The beauty of the work, as far as I'm concerned, is that it's simplicity. It's just simple. It's not difficult to understand, and you get into the rooting interest phase, which all of us that create pray for. We pray for everyone to get into that rooting interest. And when you have a group of people like that, and you're bringing your rooting interest to it, it melds together and becomes a wonderful paintbrush that you begin to make your pictures with.
I forgot the question, too.
I forgot it too. That's okay, there's more to come.
It's good.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. That's it. So when Max makes his entrance, and I see him wearing,
The what?
when Max first appears and he's wearing the white socks, and he's wearing the red V-neck with the white shirt, to me that's saying this is part of the Jerry Lewis continuity. This is another aspect of myself that I'm showing here.
Well, I first talked to Daniel about working naked, and he didn't, he wasn't positive about it.
And our rating is very tricky these days.
But I will say, this audience, you gave us such good feelings, and I'm talking on behalf of Daniel and myself, that when you take your work and put it before an audience, you're saying to them, I hope you like it. And that's all you can do, is to hope that the audience likes it. I think the key to good motion picture making has always been and always will be positive thinking. And you cannot listen to what other people say about your ideas or how you go about implementing them. I mean, coming into a theater like this tonight and not being a part of the picture for some time, it was stunning sitting there and watching you react, and it was positive. And I know that there's no way to truly thank an audience for that, but if you try, they'll hear you. I learned that years ago. Don't put it out of your mind. Remember that you want to say it so they hear you, and then they'll react. And not doing comedy on film was tough, very tough. There were about 150 places where I could have ripped the joint apart. He was very strict. And as a first-time director, he had the pressure of the world. He had ISIS in his back pocket. And to see him move and to watch the growth of this first-time director was incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I, as a director, stayed away from behind the camera because that's not what he hired me for. He hired me to play a role and not to get behind the camera and then, in one way or another, screw up everything he had planned. You can't do that. If you're a strong personality, the tendency is to use that strength, and sometimes it leans over into a negative place. The love you have for the project is vital. And you take it to a theater like tonight and you say to the audience, I hope you like it. That's it. That's as far as you can go. And it's good enough. It's good enough.
I remember you said to Lawrence and I in one of our meetings, you said, the only thing that's going to screw up this picture is if anybody does any acting in it. and you know, we talked about how Jerry had done dramatic performances before, and that there was a certain just inherent, a pleasurable shock just to seeing him with the clown mask off, but that we needed to go beyond that. That wasn't enough. We needed to dig deep. And Jerry, everything he said just now is true. He did anything I asked, and never once asked to look at a shot, or, I mean, even sometimes to my frustration, where I would be saying, I'd like your opinion, and you'd say, nope, I'm just acting in this one. I'm just incredibly proud of the work that Jerry did in this film.
I was going to suggest something to him that would have screwed him, but I didn't have the heart. No, never.
We've been seeing some amazing outtake reels that Bob Firmanek put together for us.
Yeah.
Did you do a reel for this?
No, I haven't seen it yet, but I know Bob did it.
We don't have one for this, but boy, if we we have some amazing stuff, some very funny stuff that we should. That's a very good idea. We
got to get Bob to look at it and then make a presentation.
We can do that.
Yeah, we'll do it. If you can create word of mouth with an audience, then you've done well. If when you show your work to an audience and it is received like you were here tonight, that propels the film and its future. Anything negative is disastrous. And I am a stickler about keeping everybody on a positive note. There's enough pain in the world. Do this work with love and with sincerity and truth and honesty and credibility, and you will do good work. That's at least what you think, and that's what you hope. I mean, there's going to be audiences that are going to see this film and wonder what the hell it's about. And I'm sure there are audiences that wonder, why did they do that? Et cetera, et cetera. Now when you pick out 2.5 to 3 million people that will see it domestically, and that's not even counting Iran, and you have to wait a while to see what you've made. And that's all part of the mystique and the excitement. I mean, I walked in this theater tonight and I thought to myself, the last time I walked into a theater like this was a long time ago. But it was a recollection that was important to me. And I wanted to share what I thought was good work with a good audience. And you guys are terrific, I'll tell you that. That's wonderful. Because I've played to a Nazi group a couple of times. And there's something that just throws them off base. I think it's Jews. So we stayed away from all the religious crap.
Except for the dog, huh?
Huh?
Except for the davening dog.
The dog?
What dog?
The dog. Mort Saul's joke about
Oh,
the
Mort
davening.
Saul's joke.
I never listened to his jokes. I got you. Okay.
You get two comedians in a room, they try and kill each other, right?
If anybody wants to just get into this, that's what this is about, is actually getting your audience to tell you what they would like to know. And that's why Q&A is so important. It's important to the producer, to the director, to the artist. It's important if you have product, you're never going to get the answers you get with an audience that you would get if they weren't there. What does that mean? So anyone, please raise your hand and speak up so we can hear you, and we will then respond. And it usually gets very funny. It gets interesting. Some people turn to other people and say, why would you ask him that? And then you hear her smack him with the umbrella, and there's a fight, and it's fun. Yes.
Mr. Lewis,
What?
Mr. Lewis, Mr. Lewis, I wanted to say thank you. My parents brought me to this country with my sister in 1960. I didn't speak a word of English. On the boat coming over, I saw nothing but Jerry Lewis movies. And you were my introduction to the United States.
She was hitting on me the minute I sat down.
I wanted to say thank you very, very much. And even though I didn't speak a word of English...
Her voice is louder than the goddamn microphone. Jesus, would I hate to have an argument with her? What?
I couldn't stop laughing at your movies every night on the boat, and that's how my mother found me to bring me back to the room to go to sleep. I wanted to say thank you.
You're more than welcome. Thank you. Drunken broad. Anyone at all?
Hi.
Just raise your hand or what? Yes.
Hi, Mr. Lewis. My name
What?
is Catherine. Hi. I just had kind of two questions.
Can you hear her?
Can you hear me?
No.
At all?
I'll repeat the question. Go ahead. I can hear you.
What made you want to actually get back into acting to do this film? Because as you know, we all know, you haven't had a film in so long. And also, when you're filming this movie, what was your favorite scene? What was your favorite part? What was your favorite day on the set, if you have one?
What?
She said, what made you decide to make another movie after not having made one in such a long time? And did you have a favorite scene in the film?
Oh, yeah, of course. Favorite scene was just working with Kerry. Kerry, that beautiful young lady, was just magnificent to work with. And when you have someone like that you are performing with, they make your performance better by the fact that you like them, you think they're talented, and you're hoping for their success in the film. So everything is love, affection, sensitivity. Vitally important that each and every member of that crew knows you're thrilled to be working with them. And when you do all those things and put them in their proper order, great stuff happens.
Right here.
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Lewis. First off, I want to thank you for everything you've done for the industry, everything you've done for entertainment for a massive amount of years. You're such an inspiration to me, being a director and a writer myself. Daniel, I want to thank you for doing a picture like this. I lost my grandmother about 3 months ago, and this has just helped me heal a little bit more. So I want to thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
My question to you is, is there any advice you could give a person, like a director, that's just starting out?
What?
Advice for a young director who's starting out.
Advice for a young director, get a day job. The advice I can give a young director is stay with your dream. Don't allow anyone to negativize your thought. Negativize? It's okay. Yeah, what the hell do you know? You're sitting there quiet or a whole night. I think that one thing is very important. When you do a Q&A, you cannot get physical per se because you're sitting. But I have to make this disclaimer. A week ago, I became 90. 90. You can clap, you're going to get there sooner or later. But it's an amazing thing to get to that age, because everything you do relates to that age. I mean, I never tripped in the first 90 years, the first 85 years of my life, I never tripped. Since I became 90, I fall down all the time. My eyes are going, I don't hear as well as I used to. I don't hear as well as I used to.
What?
Huh? But please ask, feel free. Yes, who you got?
Right here.
Yes.
How do you do, Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
I hope you can hear me. I'd just like to take this opportunity to share with you how most graciously appreciative we all were here tonight in a stellar, outstanding performance. You are a comic icon of the 20th century and one of the greatest, probably the greatest clown of America could ever ask for. Everybody here, I mean, loves you. A career that is stellar and a performance on that screen tonight.
That lady's getting raped.
You know, I got to tell you, sir.
Who screams like that?
Your performance in this motion picture is absolutely phenomenal. Like some of the great clowns like Ed Wynn and Milton Berle and in later in years, in their senior years, took on serious roles. And you were absolutely phenomenal. And for people to see you in a role like this, that is a serious acting, and to show the age, the human condition, and seniors, the aging, the whole entire experience was absolutely sensational. Now, I am a clown, and I was inspired by you from this size up. I've seen every motion picture of yours, and I've loved your work. Traveled all over the world, but I love you, and everybody here loves you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who have I got here?
Okay.
A lady, a man?
Lady.
A lady. Hi, lady.
Oh, thanks.
The lights are in his eyes. It's not.
I've got earrings. Are you going to do a sequel?
Can you hear her?
Said, are we doing a sequel?
Oh. Are we going to do a sequel? I don't think so. You have to add up the numbers, and then you come up with answers that are more credible than the one I gave you. Please feel free. Yes, a lady, a person.
Lady, absolutely. First off, it's such an honor to talk to you. You're such an icon. Everyone's been saying that. I was wondering, like, in today's modern age of film, like, what are your thoughts on it compared to the films you made in the 50s, 60s, 70s, etc.?
Huh?
How do films of today compare to films of the 40s, 50s, and 60s?
The film business was an exciting, incredible adventure. And then when too many people got into the film business, and a lot of them didn't deserve to be there, and they heard it. And we in the business that were given credit for knowing our business, we fight to maintain that information, and you have to fight to keep the good times rolling. And you will roll with any project you do if you fall in love with it. And that's when I called Daniel. I said, the best script I've read in a long time, and I can't wait till we make it so I see where we go with it. And that was our first creative discussion, and we knew we had lightning in a bottle, but it's going to take some time yet. It will pick up momentum, and it'll be a big, big movie.
I want to. So something.
Oh, hi.
Hi. There's something that you said once before we made the film that I just wanted to share. Is we were out to dinner with Sam, your wife, and Lawrence and myself, and you said that one of the reasons you wanted to make the film was that you have fans who grew up watching you, and you've lived parallel lives throughout your whole lifespan, and that you wanted to make one final film that showed your fans you don't have to be afraid.
Fear will screw you. and you have to get that fear out of your body and place it in its proper perspective, which is anxiety, hopeful that the audience will enjoy the work, and there's a tremendous involvement between the audience and the film. I can mention a couple of films to you that you have to be a little older to remember it. Captain's Courageous, for example. Spencer Tracy. What do you have to mention? You know, Spencer Tracy is God in terms of marvelous acting. And when you put yourself in that category, you have to work doubly hard to stay up to that level. And I picked some pretty good people that I loved and adored throughout my childhood. Jimmy Cagney and Edward G. Robinson and people like Rex Harrison, the people that did they did the credible work in film. And then there you are on a motion picture set, and you're thinking about all the things that you dreamed about that were happening for you. So you're looking at a happy Jew, that's it. If I had some gefilte fish right now. Who you got?
An old lady. I'm an old lady, but I want to tell you that other than falling down a lot and getting deaf since you were 90, you sound like a 40-year-old man. How old do you feel?
She asked how old you feel.
Huh?
How old do you feel?
90. I'll tell you about 90. At 87, it starts to tease you. At 87, you find that your eyesight is not as it was earlier. Then a few months pass, and all of a sudden you don't hear too well. And then you fall down a lot. But if you have a good memory for the times that you didn't fall, that's good. Except in my life, I took more falls before I was 30 years old than most people in a circus. And I've got all of the scars and the pain to prove it. Nobody took falls like I did. My God, I sit in the theater and I watch the fall and I say, that schmuck's gonna kill himself. But it's okay.
Well, and at 87, you could still do a pratfall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you did a couple.
I could do one now, but there's no funeral parlor around here. Look at what I did. Look at what I did. See, when you do comedy, you gotta fix what you've done.
Mr. Lewis, could you name your 3 favorite movies that you've done?
You want me to name them?
Your 3 personal favorites of all your movies.
Naughty Marietta. No? My happiest love, the love that I have for this project was because it was me, a typewriter, no computer, a typewriter, and I wrote The Nutty Professor. And then when I made it and went out among the press and the public, I had to tell them that a lot of people live a long life in our business and never get to that, what's the word I'm looking for? To the...
Exalted.
Thank you. You want to meet tomorrow?
Again?
Pull your skirt down. The guys backstage are getting round-shouldered. Okay, who we got?
One more here.
Huh?
One more here.
Jerry, I just want to thank you for everything. I have a non-film question, if that's okay.
Can't hear anything.
I'll repeat the question. Go ahead.
It's a non-film question. My mother was born and raised in Newark, and I'd like a window into what that place was like. So can you paint a picture of what kind of a place and environment it was growing up in the 30s, 40s in Newark?
Did you get it? He's asking what was Newark like when you were a child?
Would you like to hear about my bris? Jesus Christ. Next. Next.
We have time for one more, guys.
We do?
Yep.
One more. Did you ask one? No. Okay. All right, one more.
Okay, thank you for everything. I really enjoyed this series that Momon did. My sister and I felt like we made a friend watching all your films. What project would you like to do next?
What film do you want to make next?
Or what project next?
What project do you want to do next?
I'm involved in the project right now. Tonight, we're involved with Max Rose and shall be for however long it takes to see that the audience sees it. I certainly want to thank you all for coming and appreciate very much your whole attitude. It was a great audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you.